I was born an extreme coward. Yet I reincarnated into the most upright censor-in-chief's family in the capital. With their inexplicable stubbornness, just to fatally remonstrate with the emperor. Dad even bought his coffin in advance and placed it right in the main hall. Mother is a fierce woman from a fiercely loyal military family. For the greater good of the nation, she is always ready to take up her blade and die on the battlefield. As for my two older brothers, one spends all day offending nobles, while the other defends the capital, swearing to live and die with the city. I am the only one. Terrified of death, I dug 10 escape tunnels at home and wear 3 layers of armor to sleep. Every day I hug my escape route map, wondering if I am really related to this bunch of lunatics. Until today, when a few righteous-looking maids showed up with half a blood-written letter, claiming she is the true heiress. I was so thrilled I almost kowtowed to her on the spot. I knew it. How could a coward like me who hides under tables during thunder possibly be their biological daughter? I need to pack and run away immediately before father gets our whole family executed one day. Screw this. I am out. Where is the clean water? Like a famous detective, I was more eager than anyone else. I snatched the iron tray from the maid. Dad, the weather is great today. Dad leaned in, giving a solemn warning. Dad then pricked his finger. A drop of blood fell into the water. Her blood also quickly slid in. The whole family stared intently at that palm-sized porcelain bowl. The 2 drops of blood slowly drifted on the surface of the water, and then completely blended together. It is true. It's a match. I practically sprinted back to my bedroom and grabbed my 3 pre-packed large travel bags. I threw them over my shoulder. Beatsu was completely dumbfounded. She never expected this kind of move. Young miss, what are you doing? The true heiress's jade pendant and an inventory of 36 outfits. I shoved them all right into her arms. Oh right. Hold on to this book. I handed her a worn-out little notebook. Beatsu looked down in confusion. The censor's family escape guide. The notes on it read, every time Dad goes to remonstrate, buy his coffin 3 days in advance. Avoid all eyes in the court. Head straight to the backyard and follow the escape route. Beatsu was completely speechless. I ignored her and stepped out the door with my bags. But then, a pair of arms tightly hugged my legs. It was Dad. A prominent minister of 3 generations, clinging to my thigh and crying his eyes out. Oh my dear. My sweet daughter, we didn't give you any peaceful days and made you suffer so much. Please do not leave. If you leave, it will cost your old man his life. I was totally stunned. I did not do this willingly. A giant snake halberd suddenly swung down. Who dares? Take away my precious baby of 16 years. I will chop them to pieces. Mom, calm down. Beatsu did not force me. I just wanted to slip away myself. Beatsu's face turned completely green. She gave a cold sneer. Very well. I am going to report this to the court right now. Wouldn't that piss off the emperor? The emperor already hates our family given how often Dad unjay him. Our whole family will likely be arrested and thrown into death row tonight. Dad quickly yanked Beatsu back. Do not report it. She is right. You are the true daughter. But she is also my daughter. You both are. My 2 brothers happened to run back home. Eldest brother slammed his chest. One is our biological sister, even if the king of heaven comes today. The other is our adopted sister of 16 years. We are keeping both of them. My heavy soft armor suddenly fell out, along with night stealth suits, 3 wilderness survival manuals, and a handmade first aid kit. Spilled everywhere. Mom's eyes turned red. My dear, you prepared so thoroughly. I was dragged and tossed back into my room. Late at night, at 1 a.m., the commotion under the full moon finally settled. I fumbled in the dark and opened a secret passage under the bed, crawling into secret tunnel number 3. I spent 3 years digging this tunnel, knowing the exit is perfectly hidden under the Arhat statues, but I dragged my bags and crawled. Suddenly, a beam of light appeared ahead. Beatsu was waiting at the corner. She said calmly, "Caught you. How did you know about this place?" On your escape guide, page 37. Route number 3 is best used before a rainy night, so it is hard to leave footprints. Ming-Shu, sneaking around in the middle of the night. Are you trying to run away with our family's banknotes? Beaksu ripped open my bag. Steamed buns, fever pills, 3 sheepskin water bladders, and a handmade gas mask. Beaksu was stunned for a second. Then she called the whole family over. Dad held the oil lamp, looking at the neatly arranged emergency supplies in the tunnel. It is full of. Mom picked up the built-in gas mask. Look at this. Such meticulous stitching. Eldest brother squatted down, examining them piece by piece. Trauma meds, fever pills, bandages. These are all life-saving items. Mom suddenly burst into loud tears. Ah, you know the battlefield so well, my sweet girl. Beaksu stood to the side. Her worldview completely shattered. Me too. This whole family must have screws loose in their heads. That night, Dad set a rule to prevent me from suffering and begging for food. He ordered eldest brother to lead troops overnight. To seal up my escape routes, I slumped in the courtyard, watching them pour mortar into my escape tunnels. My heart shattered along with it. My hard-earned tunnels are gone. Tunnel number 4. Took me 2 years to dig. Even hired a master to fortify it. All destroyed. My tears kept falling down, but in everyone's eyes, I was a filial daughter crying out of worrying for the family. I am so done. Dropped a line that sent chills down my spine. Girl, wait until tomorrow when your dad goes to court if you still want to dig secret tunnels. Mom will dig them for you. When Beaksu left, standing by the doorway, she said, Ming-Shu, this playing hard to get trick of yours, I will sooner or later expose it. Whatever, the tunnels are ruined. I will fake sick. Lying flat tomorrow, the fake illness lasted 3 days until Mom brought a huge bowl of tonic soup, asking me to drink it. We went together. It turned out, the imperial noble consort was hosting a flower viewing banquet in the palace, but anyone could see the scheming written all over their faces. I heard the censor's family has an extra daughter. Indeed. I sat down next to Beaksu. Beaksu spoke up first. Reporting to your highness, I am the censor's true flesh and blood. This one beside me was merely raised by them for 16 years. She deliberately paused for a second. She wanted me to make a fool of myself in front of the noble consort and become a laughingstock, so she could justifiably kick me out of the censor's estate. She is brainless, just a coward. I heard she is completely illiterate, making a fool of herself. Such an idiot, truly. Wonder why she is so timid. Scared of everything. Scared of thunder. Last time she saw a bug, she cried and screamed for help. The noble ladies present hid their faces behind round fans, eyes full of disdain. The more Beaksu listened, the more she felt something was off. Before she could finish her sentence, from the ceiling beams of the hall dropped 3 assassins. Panic erupted in the palace. The assassins charged straight at the noble consort. My body moved faster than my brain. Survival instincts honed over 16 years drove me to dive straight off my stool and slide under the table. My escape route happened to trip the leg of the leading assassin. The second assassin moved incredibly fast, slashing his sword at my back, but it just clanked against my golden silk armor. I whipped out the anti-wolf pepper spray from my sleeve and sprayed wildly. The assassin covered his eyes, howling and rolling on the ground. The third assassin's sword was already pressed against Beaksu's neck. I shot a hidden dart at him. In the blink of an eye, all 3 assassins were completely neutralized. The Emperor stepped out from behind the screen, first staring at the howling assassins covering their eyes. The ugly ones were lying on the ground covered in vegetable soup. Protect the emperor. Assassins. Hurry and save the noble consort. This old minister is running for his life. That day, the emperor granted me the title of chaste and heroic woman with a gold medal, and then dropped a deadly decree. This girl is the absolute paragon of noble ladies in grade 2. She must not leave the capital for the rest of her life. In Beoxu's eyes, confusion appeared for the very first time. Is this girl faking it all along? Or is she for real? The truth behind the banquet's assassination came to light 3 days later. The assassination was completely orchestrated by the emperor himself. It was all a play, from beginning to end. Just a massive setup. The emperor used it as an excuse to strip Dad of his power over the censorate. But the real trap was yet to come. Our whole family was in great danger. The imperial decree followed right after, arranging my marriage to the Grand Marshal of the North, General Pei, under the guise of stabilizing the nation. But everyone knows he is a ruthless killer. A cold-blooded, bloodthirsty maniac who enjoys slaughter. Dad immediately tore the imperial decree into pieces. He angrily ordered people to move his coffin right to the center of the main hall, planning to remonstrate to death at tomorrow's court session. Mom did not say a word and went to the back house to sharpen her blade all night. My two brothers rushed to gather their troops, but there was still no news from them. Beoxu just stood silently in the courtyard. I pulled out a hidden key from under the bed for secret tunnel number 10. One spent 10 whole years, all by myself, with just a shovel, digging out this ultimate escape route. The exit is hidden in the dry well under the back garden's rockery. I even left an air vent every 50 steps. So flawless, not even the mice know about its existence. I crawled forward inch by inch, but halfway through, the ground above shook with a heavy rumbling sound. Then came the sound of galloping horses. I pressed myself right under an air vent and looked up. Thousands of torches lit up the censor's estate. Imperial guards heavily surrounded the place. They were right outside. Then I heard Beoxu's furious shout. Want to go in? You have to step over my sword first. She stood her ground firmly. But they were heavily outnumbered and my brothers were pinned down by the guards. I slumped on the ground, my forehead covered in cold sweat. Inside the tunnel, in just one more moment, I could escape. Once I escape, I will head south. I already bought a plot of land in Nanjing and saved up enough money. I will change my name and live as an ordinary citizen. Living a peaceful and safe life, I continued crawling forward. My mind was full of the sight of Beoxu's arm and that bloody scar. She has only been back at the censor's estate for a month. Our family owes her 16 years, yet she's guarding the outermost front line dressed in red. I crawled another 10 meters. Dad's howling echoed through the air vent, suppressed like someone choking him. In his entire life, Dad only ever cried in front of me. My fingernails dug tightly. The exit was right ahead. I could see the moonlight outside. Comfortable, safe moonlight. I stepped 1 foot out. Then I heard Mom's voice. Girl, did you get away? Regardless of how badly the emperor treated our family, at least their girl finally escaped. I closed my eyes, remembering how Dad pushed me away, Mom covering my mouth, my brothers packing my bags, and Beoxu, that girl who always looked at me with guarded eyes, is now using her body to block swords for me. I stood outside the city gates and let out the boldest curse of my life. Damn it. You bunch of lunatics are so freaking annoying. I turned around and ran back into the depths of the tunnel. I pulled out my ultimate hidden weapon. I took down a row of guards, including for leaders. Who wants a piece of me? He stared wide-eyed as he fell to the ground. Everyone stared at this person emerging from the dirt, face covered in mud, holding a poison dart launcher. Who else wants to die? I tossed a smoke bomb as I ran. Yellow toxic gas covered the entire censor's estate. The Imperial Guards and troops all choked on the smoke. I made it using pepper, sulfur, and a secret formula to boil it down. It was originally meant to cover my escape. Amidst the red and yellow gas, everyone was startled. Ming-Shu, why did you come back? Stop talking. Run into the dry while I grab Dad. My brothers stumbled and crawled behind us. 500 meters later, the tunnel suddenly opened up, right as day an underground secret base. 6 stone chambers, a cellar packed with rations, and walls lined with defense weapons. Poison darts stacked in the corners. There is actually a clear spring here, and a portable cooking stove. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. Dad's throat trembled. Are you planning a rebellion? I shoved Beoksu aside, angrily wiping the dirt off my cheeks. I was just hoping to survive after your rebellion fails. Did you dig all of this? Eldest brother walked a circle around the stone chamber. The more he looked, the more shocked he became. Since I was 6 years old, the day Dad first put his coffin in the main hall, I hid it from everyone. You did this all by yourself. Mom's voice choked up, looking at this huge underground fortress, staring at the bloody scratch on my arm that I got at some point. She trembled. She did not say a word, took down some healing powder from the medicine cabinet, and applied it for me. Then, we hid. My eyes teared up. Above ground, we could hear the Imperial Guards searching the place, but they would never find secret tunnel number 10 since the entrance is at the bottom of a dry well. The sealed hidden door requires pressing 3 marked square bricks at the same time to open. This was a masterpiece I planned 7 times and revised countless times. They searched all night. The head of the guards could only report back to the Emperor that the entire censor's family had vanished into thin air. They immediately issued a wanted poster for the censor's rebel family with a bounty of 10,000 taels of gold. Dad stroked his beard, suppressing his anger. This minister has been loyal and devoted my entire life. I am going to fight him. It is just death anyway. Stop. Stop ruining the base I spent 10 years building. He looked at me again. What do we do now? I took out a hand-drawn map, slammed it on the table. We will take the secret tunnels to leave the border and go to the border to find second brother. The reason is simple. Second brother holds military power. The border is far away. The Emperor's blade cannot reach us there. Besides, I tapped on the map, which was filled with red circles marking the escape route. These 17 locations along the way are places where I spend a fortune to buy secret safe houses. Dad moved his lips, stunned for a long time before saying, "Are you sure she is not my biological daughter?" We rested for 2 days. On the 3rd night, we hid 40 miles outside the city, stopping at our first safe house, a secret shelter. It was a small farmyard with a cellar I bought when I was 12. Down in the cellar, surrounded by 3 months' worth of bacon and spring water, Beoksu placed that half of the blood letter flat on the table, examining it back and forth. This half is what my adopted father shoved to me before he died. It records my origins. He did not have time to hand me the other half. I glanced at that withered yellow cloth. Beoksu, hand me the blood letter. She hesitated for a moment before handing it over. I casually took out a bottle of iodine from my medicine bag. Watch closely. First, I applied iodine to the seemingly blank spaces. No reaction. Then I applied rice water. Faint blue-purple handwriting appeared on the cloth. Someone left a secret message in the blank space, written with a special solution that only appears now the other half was not needed. I leaned in closer. In the winter 12 years ago, the imperial noble consort sent assassins into the censor's estate and swapped the infant daughter. The true daughter was left wandering the countryside. They used this trick to blackmail the censor. If the minister does not comply, they will silently eliminate his biological daughter. After reading it carefully, the mastermind was clear. Everyone gasped. Mom slammed her embroidery needle into the dirt table. How dare they touch my flesh and blood? For 16 years, Beoksu wandered the villages, suffering cold stares, eating scraps, relying on strangers. It was not a coincidence, but the emperor's conspiracy. Beoxu hugged mom tightly and cried loudly. Mom cried too. Eldest brother smashed his fists against the stone wall until it cracked. I sat in the corner, playing with that bottle of iodine, staring at my family crying together. My nose stung so badly. Beoxu turned around, looking at me with red, teary eyes. Mingshu, I used to always think you were just a deeply scheming coward. But now, I realize you are a deeply scheming but very good person. I shot her a glance. From now on, everyone has their own roles. You focus on fighting enemies on the battlefield. I will focus on hiding in the back and playing it safe to cover your retreat. Beoxu was completely speechless. The next morning, assassins tracked us down to the shelter. All the way here. These were no ordinary assassins. The leading assassin cut off 3 of the fake trigger wires. As they rushed in, I quickly got everyone up and led them around to corners. I pushed aside the dead roots of a rotten tree by the cave. This is the emergency connecting tunnel in the shelter. It is only 30 steps long, but the exit is behind the cliff on the other side of the river. After crossing the tunnel, I pulled the hemp rope at the cave entrance. 70 jars of chili paste buried in the tunnel were all detonated. Beoxu stood across the river, looking at those assassins choking and losing their ability to fight. Dad stared at the assassins lying in the mud, then suddenly turned his head to look at me. Daughter, this kind of trap. How many exactly did you leave on the road? Not many. How many? There are 17 more along the whole route. Dad fell completely silent. Half a month later, from far away, we saw that isolated city. Outside the city walls was a densely packed enemy camp. How long has the city been besieged? Half a month. The city is probably out of food and ammo. The defending general said he swore to live and die with the city. Another one who wants to be a loyal martyr. Maniac, how do we get in? Beoxu stared at the heavily guarded enemy lines and frowned. The whole family looked at me again. 3 years ago, when second brother and I came here, I casually dug in the wasteland north of the city. A secret tunnel. The whole family gave up on talking. Just in case. This tunnel is not long, only 200 steps. The entrance is under a fake coffin in a mass grave outside the city. Who would go dig up a dead person's grave? The exit is under the floorboards of the city granary. Just like that, the whole family swaggered into the mass grave, approaching a fake coffin. We opened it and arrived inside the city. The moment second brother bumped into us in the granary, the broken bowl in his hand fell to the ground. Why do you guys look like a bunch of refugees? Mom, you guys, it is a long story. Beoxu smiled bitterly. Second brother finally looked at me. Where did you guys come in from? The secret tunnel I dug. Second brother was dumbfounded for a second. Then, I knew it. Back then, when you insisted on coming to the border with me, I thought you were just here to experience military life. I was here to scout escape routes. The situation in the city is even worse than you imagine. Less than 800 defenders left, and more than half are wounded. Rations will only last 3 more days. The enemy commander declared they will launch a full siege tomorrow and slaughter everyone once they break in. Dad drew his sword, swearing to fight to the very last man and die on the battlefield. Eldest brother clenched his fists, vowing to protect the civilians. And here we are again at the family loyalist competition. Second brother looked at me. I know you are worried about the family's safety. Take mom and dad and get out of here. I looked at the soldiers ready to die defending the city and the civilians hiding in their houses, terrified and completely silent. Then I looked at this big family of mine in front of me. I really wanted to ascend to heaven on the spot. Then I opened my ultimate survival bag that I carried all the way from the capital, which was heavy as hell. To be exact, it is an armory, 20 caddies of improved explosives, 30 custom-made traps, 100 heavy crossbow bolts with barbed hooks, plus 6 buckets of premium lube and 10 bags of itching powder. The whole family stared at me, like they were looking at a black market smuggler. Who says we are running? I spent 10 years hoarding these babies. I have to play with them at least once, right? Everyone listen to me. Beoxu lead troops for a frontal distraction. Understood. I will stay on the tower and do what I do best. Setting up traps. The enemy beat their drums. 30,000 troops pushed hard against the walls. Siege ladders were set up, but I had already slathered the outer walls. With a full 3 buckets of premium lube, the enemy soldiers barely climbed halfway up, before slipping and sliding all the way down, triggering the heavy crossbows. A massive cloud of itching powder hit them right in the face. Once inhaled into their noses, their entire bodies itched uncontrollably, driving them absolutely insane. The soldiers threw away their weapons and scratched themselves desperately. The defenders on the tower were completely dumbfounded. Second brother's lieutenant asked, "What kind of battle tactic is this?" The escape tactic. Basically, make the enemy lose their combat ability and then slip away. Except today, there is no need to run. Beoxu stood in her red dress at the front of the tower, holding a steel blade. Any enemy soldier who managed to climb up the wall despite the itching powder and lube. Was easily pushed down by her. Looking from afar, the left side of the city wall was a spectacle. The chain tracks I spent all night setting up started firing barbed arrows. After enduring this for 2 hours, the enemy commander finally lost it. He personally took the field, leading his elite cavalry to charge forward. Just 50 paces from the city wall. The ground had been hollowed out by me, covered only by a thin layer of sand and grass. The enemy commander's horse fell in, breaking a leg instantly. Think about it, 30,000 troops driven crazy by lube and itching powder. Now ambushed by arrows and hidden pits, the commander was captured alive. Chaos erupted. Second brother seized the moment, leading his 300 men out. This was not an army, it was 30,000 itching maniacs. The enemy retreated in defeat. We cheered wildly, but before we could even celebrate, the emperor sent an army of 100,000. With the prime minister personally overseeing the battle, they were not here to defend the border. They were here for this isolated city. They were here for us. 100,000 troops arrived at the city gates a few days later. Prime Minister Zhao Guangji is Dad's sworn enemy of 18 years in the court, taking advantage of the censorate's fall. He completely wiped out all of Dad's old subordinates in the capital, killing them all. He shouted towards the city tower. The rebels have fallen. Surrender, and the civilians will be spared. The wails of the civilians echoed from all sides. We had just survived a disaster. Face it. He wants to die again. I grab his sword hilt. I will go out. What are you thinking? My specialty. I stood on the city wall and cried my heart out towards Zhao Guangji's army. The mastermind behind the rebellion is him. I have been a coward. So annoying. Zhao Guangji sat on his warhorse, watching my performance with great interest. On the third day, Beoxu and I had a huge fight on the city tower. I acted like a coward, afraid of death, pointing at her, demanding she surrender, viciously, saying I just wanted to live. It is clearly you guys who do not know what is good for you, seeking your own destruction. At the end of the show, I stood up and shouted, "The censor family's disaster has nothing to do with me. I am just a fake heiress. I surrender." Then, I tied up my brothers and forced Beoxu to open the gates. The city gates opened wide. Zhao Guangji sneered and led his troops, swaggering proudly. as his horses hooves stepped into the city. Inside the city, Zhao Guangji looked up, seeing me standing alone on the tower. Zhao Guangji, I have a secret for you. I am indeed a coward. So I like to eliminate anyone who threatens my life first. Hidden ballistas on all, for sides fired simultaneously, thousands of arrows rained down, trapping them. The city gates slammed shut, blocking their retreat. The censor's daughters have come to settle the score. The enemy forces fell in droves. Fire flooded the vanguard. The rearguard fled in panic. 3 days later, the 100,000-strong army was completely wiped out. On the 7th day after the Prime Minister's death, Dad made a decision. In the ancestral hall, he took down the plaque of loyalty he worshipped for years and put it away. His lifelong loyalty to the Emperor only resulted in his daughter being stolen, his family being hunted, and innocent civilians treated as pawns. We rebel. When these words came out of his mouth, it felt like breaking a rib. I copied the blood letter exposing the Emperor's infant swapping plot 100 times overnight using the intelligence network I spent years and fortunes building. In 3 days, it spread across 5 states. In 7 days, the whole empire knew resentment boiled over. Rebel forces rose up everywhere like a tide. But what truly made us unstoppable was not our troops. It was the 10 years I spent building shelters across all states of Great Chu. The Western Military District formed a perfect rear defense line. From the border all the way to the capital, every 50 miles there was a secret stronghold of mine, stocked with rations and weapons, tents. Originally, I set up these strongholds just for escaping and surviving. But now they became the perfect supply line for our troop deployment. Dad asked again, with eyes full of doubt. Exactly. How much silver did you spend? All the allowance I saved up for 16 years. And my private stash. Building secret tunnels. Hoarding supplies. It all went into this. Now we assemble. And move out. To rebel. The rebel army was unstoppable. A month later, we surrounded the imperial capital. The imperial city had high walls and thick defenses. Even with the emperor's loss of popular support, there were still 20,000 imperial guards defending. If we attack by 4, there will inevitably be heavy casualties. Do not panic, I said, standing by the sand table. Why is there no need to panic? Because there is no need for a siege. I unrolled my final blueprint. It was a structural map of the underground of the imperial city. When I was 14, I was ordered by the noble consort to enter the palace for 3 days of etiquette training. During those 3 days, I did not learn any etiquette. I was mapping out the foundation of the palace. After returning home, I spent 2 years digging from the sewage pipe outside the city, all the way to several support pillars underground, and buried tons of explosives. You buried explosives under the palace when you were 14. Eldest brother felt a chill run down his spine. I was just playing it safe. I laid out the fuse. If he wanted to wipe out my family, I would send him to the sky first. Under the cover of night, I crawled through the sewage pipe and sneaked into the underground of the imperial city, lighting the fuse. But I did not detonate it yet. I popped my head out from the end of the sewage pipe and appeared right in front of the emperor's dragon bed. The emperor was slumped on his throne, gripping the jade sail tightly. 10 elite imperial guards stood in front of him. Upon seeing me, the guards drew their swords instantly. Men. I raised the fire starter in my hand. Your Majesty, do you know how many explosives are padded right under your precious throne? 3 tons. Enough to turn this grand hall and these century-old palace buildings into ashes together. One end of this rope is held tightly in my hand, while the fuse spreads deep underground. Order your guards to stand down. If I let go of this rope, the flint will strike and ignite the fuse, and trigger the blast. We will both ascend to heaven together. The emperor stared at me in total shock. I am not crazy. I am just so terrified of death that I do not want war, and do not want bloodshed. I just want your Majesty to step down peacefully. I pulled an abdication edict from my sleeve and placed it before him. Stamp it with your jade seal. Right now, the emperor glared at me for a long time. Finally, he picked up his brush and heavily stamped the state seal to abdicate. On the day the new emperor ascended the throne, a gentle spring rain fell. Wearing 5 layers of golden silk armor, I stood in the throne room, covered by a brand new princess gown on the outside, with a fiefdom of 2,000 households. The uprising finally settled. The new emperor was chosen by my father and the rebel forces. His very first imperial decree was to clear the censorate's smeared name and announce to the whole empire that Censor Shen is utterly loyal, and his grievances are redressed. The second imperial decree officially recognized Beoxu's identity, adding her name to the Shen family genealogy, appointing her as the great general defending the nation, in command of the border forces, guarding the frontiers of Great Chu. Then came the third decree. Ming Shu, the new emperor, observed me closely. You have rendered great merits in protecting the emperor and defending the city. What reward do you want? Speak. Dad pondered. Should ask for a first-rank noble title. Mom considered. Eldest brother and second brother muttered. A box of gold bars and a grand mansion. Only Beoxu remained silent. She knows me too well. I knelt down immediately. Your Majesty, I would like a piece of land in the southern suburbs. What do you plan to do with it? To build a place with deep trenches and high walls, with 3 underground levels, equipped with fireproof, poison-proof, and shockproof functions. An exclusive secret bunker. The new emperor froze and burst into laughter. Granted, I confer upon you the title of Princess Chingle and reward you with 5,000 taels of silver to build your bunker. I heard the civil and military officials behind me whispering. Is this girl sick? After the court session ended, Beoxu was waiting outside the palace gates. She took out an object. The commander's seal. You keep this. Why? With you holding the military seal, my back is safe. In the future, if anyone under heaven dares to bully you, I will protect you. I did not take it. I just stared at her. She forcefully shoved the grand seal into my palm, then turned around. I gripped the still warm commander's seal standing in the moonlight in front of the palace gates. My palm felt incredibly hot. The Censor's family reunited. Dad finally did something a normal person would do. Swing by swing, he chopped up his coffin. Mom used the wood to cook a table full of dishes. Raised pork with soy sauce, roast chicken, steamed fish, raised bamboo shoots. All the dishes I craved. Beoxu ate a peaceful meal with us for the first time. She grew up wandering the streets and rarely had a proper meal. Mom kept putting food in her bowl. Her eyes were red. Eldest brother and second brother drank wine. Their faces were flushed and they kept saying, "You are so badass." Dad slumped in the main seat, drinking cup after cup, in total silence. At the end of the banquet, he suddenly spoke up. "Girl, Dad used to always think you were a disgrace and a complete coward. Now I finally understand. It is my greatest wish for you to just stay alive." I stared at the chopped up coffin within a daze. I picked up a piece of pork rib, chewed it for a while. It tasted a bit salty. Late that night I lay on my bed, feeling that family peace is great, and a peaceful world is not so bad. I rolled over, looked at the bright moon outside the window, thought for a moment, then got out of bed, grabbed my shovel, and tiptoed to the backyard. The blueprint for the 11th secret tunnel. I finished it a long time ago. Some habits just cannot be changed. 3 years later, the censor's estate became the grandest mansion in the capital. The 2 daughters of the house were famous. Suitors got their legs broken by Beoxu. People also came to propose to me, mostly eyeing my wealth and the blueprints of my survival gadgets. So I released my marriage requirements. Must wear armor every day, carry 30 caddies of weight, participate in escape drills every month, and must dig at least 1 secret tunnel. No one dared to apply, except for the 800-mile urgent military courier. The enemy forces gathered a massive army and marched towards our border. The whole estate reflexively entered combat mode. Dad threw on his official uniform. Mom grabbed her. Dragon Crescent Blade from the wall. Eldest brother gathered troops and second brother prepared defenses. But 3 days later, an urgent dispatch arrived from the border. It was not an enemy invasion, but an allied delegation, a technical observation team. Their only purpose was to request an audience to study Princess Changle's city defenses. Repeating crossbow blueprints, secret tunnel excavation, and defense trap guides. And so, a month later, Gray chose very first, Safety and Emergency Survival Academy. Was founded by Shen Mingxu. Courses cover city defense, traps, tunnel excavation, and gas mask development, plus an advanced course on escape route design. There is even exclusive gunpowder. Smelting. The tuition is ridiculously high. Yet applicants lined up from the inner city to the suburbs because everyone knows. Being afraid of death is the ultimate core value. On opening day, Beoxu rushed back from the border. Late at night, we sat cross-legged, drinking on the city tower. She wore red, carried a steel blade, and in her sleeves hid the pear blossom darts. I gave her. The night breeze gently brushed the city wall. She took a big swig of wine and turned to look at me. Are you still afraid of death? I took a sip of wine. Of course I am afraid. If anyone dares to touch you, I will slaughter them. Beoxu smiled and raised her cup. I gazed at everything, wrapped tightly in my 3-layer golden silk armor, carrying my pear blossom darts. Behind me is my newly built 11th secret tunnel. Thinking to myself, tomorrow I should definitely build a new one.